We are starting this chapter of distance and length with measuring instruments. What are the different measuring instruments that we use on a daily basis? Firstly, we use the centimeter ruler. In our homes, some of us also has a tape measure, which we use to measure the length of maybe clothing, curtains, or a seam. We also get a meter stick that you can use in a material shop to measure the length of materials. And then the trundle wheel is used specifically in athletics to measure out the distance. Please highlight the names of these measuring instruments. If you look in your textbook at number 1, it says, which measurement tool would you use in the following situations? Remember, grade 6s, there will sometimes be more than one answer. At A, what measurement tool can you use to buy curtain material in a material shop? Now, for those of you who have gone to one of those shops, you will know you use a meter stick. This meter stick is sticked onto the table and the material is only laid over it so that you can just cut off what you need. But we can also say we use a tape measure, because sometimes a tape measure is sticked onto the table in order for you to measure the material. So for number A, we will have 2 answers, and you can write those answers on the 2 lines provided. For number B, they ask us the length of shapes in our book. Well, we said we use a centimeter ruler to underline things in our books. So if something is in our books, we will also use our ruler. Please write centimeter ruler on the line next to B. For number C, they ask us the roadworks department measures the length of road that they must repair. Now usually that's only short pieces of a road, not the distance of the road between, for instance, 2 towns, which will normally be done in kilometers. This is only a short piece of the road. So that will be measured with a trundle wheel. Please write trundle wheel, and grade 6s, it makes a click sound every time you go past a meter. That is how they know how many meters they have to repair. D, they ask you, a dressmaker measures a girl's waist to make a skirt for her. Now I've just changed it to a person's waist because most people's waist are measured with a, yes, tape measure, because it needs to go around the waist. It's not a straight line. You have to be able to bend the tape measure. So please fill in tape measure at number D. For the second question, they ask us in which unit we will measure these following items. Will we use millimeter, centimeter, meter, or kilometer? So let's see. Curtains are usually measured in, yes, meter. The word meter stick says it as well. You buy curtain or you buy any material according to the amount of meters you need. The length of the shapes in your books, I think you will all agree, that is centimeter. A piece of road, because we are using a trundle wheel and it indicates every meter, we will say meter. And then lastly, a person's waist is usually measured in centimeter. So grade 6s, please complete those units in the little arrows next to the measuring instruments. Now we get to the formula at the bottom of that page. Grade 6s, this will be the most important thing you need to remember when you are working with the conversions of length and distance. For maths and capacity, we only used 1,000. We either multiplied with 1,000 or we divided with 1,000. But when it comes to length and distance, it's quite tricky. We use 10, 100, and 1,000. So please look carefully at the video and make the notes in your books. I want you to take out 2 different colors. And as in the previous videos, it does not matter if the multiply or the divide goes top or bottom. So let's work with what we know. We know 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. Think of long distance running. We say we run 1,200 meters, which is actually just over a kilometer. 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. And then if we look on our rulers, 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. So this is the base that you can work from when you have to make your conversions. So let's use our first color. We've said from meter to centimeter, we need 100. If our arrow goes from meter to centimeter, we multiply by 100. I want you to use that color, make your arrow, and then say times 100. If we go from kilometer to meter, we see 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters. So then from kilometer to meter, we have to say multiply by 1,000. And then from centimeter to millimeter, we have 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. So then we need to go from centimeter to millimeter by multiplying 10. Do you see, grade 6s? We are using 10, 100 and 1,000. Now let's do the opposite. If we then have to go from millimeters to centimeters, we need to divide by 10. If we go from centimeter to meter, we need to divide by 100. And if we go from meter to kilometer, we need to divide by 1,000. This is the formula to do your conversions. So please always start with what you know. You know 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. Then you know which way your arrow must go, and you know that you have to write multiply with 100. If you know multiply with 100 goes this way, divided by 100 will go the opposite way. Please complete this conversions in color.